If you're going to use this camera for product photography, there are a couple things you need to set up, and it's really quite simple. Use the manual mode just like we use for just about every scene. Press the function button to access the function menu and make sure that's set to manual. This will allow you to set the white balance, which is very important, and you're also going to want to change the flash and maybe the ISO. So keep that on manual. Go ahead and go down to white balance, and if it's critical that the color is accurate, you can set a custom white balance. Otherwise, go ahead and choose the most appropriate setting. If the product happens to be outdoors, that's great, just use cloudy or daylight. If you're indoors under tungsten, you can use tungsten or fluorescent. But if you have a lighting setup and you really want to get the most accurate color, you can go ahead and choose custom, which in this case, what you can do, you can see in my screen right now, it says click the display button to evaluate the white balance. And you're going to want a white piece of paper, or anything that it can be gray also, anything that is completely neutral of any color. So here's, for example, my white piece of paper. I'm going to put it in my scene, and I'm going to press the display button. The brackets, it doesn't have to fill the entire screen, just so that the brackets in the center are on that white card or gray card. Go ahead and hit display, and it should evaluate. Now my flash was turned on, so you noticed that it flashed. If I'm not going to use the flash in the product scene, then I would get out of the function menu, choose no flash, go back into function, and again hit the display button. Okay. Now that my white balance is set, I can escape the function menu by pressing the function button. Again, my flash is turned off because previously I chose to turn it off for the white balance, and so I don't want to use it right now. My ISO is set to 80, and this really depends on how much light you have. You may need to turn it up a little bit because we're not using the flash, but if you have two 100-watt light bulbs, that really should be enough. I'm going to leave the flash off, leave my ISO at 80, and finally, it really depends on how close you are to the subject. You may or may not need to use the macro mode. The macro mode is located here. The little flower icon, just press the left navigation button to access that mode and move over to macro. Hit set or give it a second to go away. Now that I have my little flower macro icon, I can focus on things closer than 2 feet. And again, just like with any picture, press the shutter button halfway to focus on your target. Press the shutter button halfway. If you don't want the focused subject to be directly in the center, you can then keep the button pressed halfway and recompose the image like this. And once you're ready, go ahead and press the shutter button the rest of the way to take the picture. To find out much more about digital photography and your digital camera, go to lbguides.com.